Alright, so welcome back again. My name is Jesse, and in this wonderful and exciting tutorial, we're trying to explore some nice features of GitHub. So we're trying to use the advanced search features of GitHub, right? So this is going to be called GitHub Dorks. So GitHub is not just a platform for storing your code, it's also the largest code bank in the world, right? So let's explore this particular platform. So before we explore it, let's see some various things we can do with GitHub. So we have this search button here, right? It is very powerful if you understand how to use it. So let's see how to work with it. So by the end of this tutorial, we'll be trying to explore the various parts of GitHub, trying to see how to search GitHub, right? Something like GitHub Docs, like Google Docs, how to search by docs, how to search by language, by user, by location, by activity, by engagement, right? So with GitHub, you can search all of these parameters. So these are the various parts of GitHub. So it's not just a repository, it's also a code bank and a search engine. So have this simple picture to help you understand the various parts of GitHub. So we have the code where you store your actual code. We have some documentation stuff like Readme, description, title. We also have commit and log history. So GitHub is also tracking your commits and then your log history, as well as communications like issues, comments, and all the activities and engagements such as forks, pushes, stars, followers, right? So in a way, it's like a social media, something like that. So let me show you what I mean by what I was saying. So I go back again to GitHub. So these are the various parts of GitHub. As you can see, we have, bring myself here. If you go to GitHub, we have the main name here, right? So in this particular place, this is your repository name, right? Or your organization name or the user name. Then you have your repository, the actual repository that you have cloned there. So this is your username, and this is your repository, right? This is the organization, and this is the repository name. You can search per this particular user or per the repository. There's also the engagement here, so which includes the forks, the stars, the followers. The forks is those number of people who have forked your, who have made a copy of your repository. The stars are those that are watching and have appreciating what you are doing. There's also the about, which is giving a description about what this particular repository is doing for this particular repository. And there is also the readme, right, which is very important, which contains information about what the repository has, right? Then there's the actual files here, and every repository has a very nice feature for tracking the languages that is based on the extensions of the file here, right, which is here. So with this understanding of the various parts of GitHub, you can actually search per each of these fields, per the username or the repository name. You can search per the engagement, Fox stars. You can search per the description. You can search per the readme, per the language, and per the actual code itself, right? So if I come back here, these are the various ways you can search, right, for GitHub. So there's the qualifier and some basic terms you have to understand when you're trying to search on GitHub. So this is a simple cheat sheet. I'll provide a link so you can have access to it of how to search for GitHub so that you don't forget, right? So you use the qualifier, which is the in, then we have the particular part. As we already saw, we have this particular part here, that is the username, right, or the repository. So the user, the repo, or the name, right, or the title. We also have the engagement, stars, fox. We have the about, readme, and the language. So you can actually search per them, right? So in case I want to search for something from the name or the user, I can use these particular terms. So let's explore them in actual code. So I'll go back again to my workspace, right? So this is my GitHub. I've already logged in, and then I'll just come back and I want to make some searches. So I'll just come back here to this particular search here. Apologies for it being small. In case I want to search generally, right, not in this particular repository but in the entire GitHub. Let's go back to the explore GitHub first and let's search, right? So I want to search for something. So the first thing we are going to do is that we'll be trying to do the searching by the doc. So we want to search by the readme, by the description, or by the comment. So how do you do that? All you have to do is just go with this particular sentence, the in, that is the particular qualifier, then the part of GitHub you want to check. So you want to search the readme, you want to search in the description, in the title, right? So in that case, you just put it here. So in case I want to search for the name of the repository, I just go with name, and then the name of the term that I want to search for. So let's go back and try it here. So I'll just go back here, so in, right, and then I'll just specify that, okay, I want to search inside the entire GitHub, right, all of GitHub. As you can see, make it bigger, Yeah, this is bigger, right? Then I want to search all of GitHub. I want to search for a particular stuff. For the name, I'm searching for the name of anything called, let's say, Flax, right? So this is going to search all of GitHub for any repository with the name Flax in all of GitHub. You can see that we have Flax, the almighty Flax here, and these are the number of repositories that have the term Flax in their repository name, right? Flax here, there is Flax. You can see the number of them, that is 198k, right, which is quite huge. The number of commits with the term Flax, issues with the term Flax, is very, very powerful, right? It's a very, very powerful search engine. Now, that is one of the ways, right? So in case I also want to search for something like, let's say, pandas, I can also go do the same thing. Then I can search all of GitHub. So we have pandas here, there's pandas here, there's pandas here. All of these things are searching per the name, right? And as we already saw in our diagram, you can also search not just per the name, right, the repository name. You can also search per the readme, right, which is this particular place. So in case you want to search for per the readme, I can just come back here and change it from this one. So let me copy this one so you have it as record. So this is one way, right? And then let's say Flax. So in case I want to check for the readme, I'll just do the same thing here. It's going to be this option. Then I'll just go with the readme. So it's going to search all of GitHub, every part of GitHub's readme for the term pandas. If I run it, so now the value has changed, right? So this is every part of GitHub that has a readme, and inside the readme there is a term pandas. So if I click on this one here, you're going to see that the term pandas is found here. See that there's pandas here. So if I go with Control F and I'm searching per the browser, this is pandas. So let's go with this, so you see that it's actually within the readme. So there is inside the readme there is pandas here. Wow. Inside the readme there's also another pandas here. So it's searching per the readme, right? Very cool. That is how to use a readme search. Let's save it. You can also search per the description, right? So the description is this part of GitHub, so we'll be checking by that case. So let me put it here. So readme description. I'm not going to search for pandas. Let's search for something in, let's say, something different within the description. So let's check something like, say, Docker, right? If I search for the description in all of GitHub, it's quite huge. Docker is quite huge. So if I click on it, it's going to search all of GitHub for the term within the descriptions, the term Docker, right? So that is what it's going to be doing here. So it's searching not here no more, it's now searching the about or the description for the term Docker. So it's taking some time. Yeah, right, that's finished. So every part of the description that is having the term Docker, so these are all of them. So we have Docker cheat sheets, we have the almighty Docker, we have ng prosy. If I click on this one, you can see that even in here there is Docker here, right? As you can see, there is Docker here. This is when you are searching per the description, right? This is for the description search. So let's paste it here. Pivot. You can also do the same thing and change this one from here to about, because it's still, the description is still the same thing as the about. You call it as about and it's still going to work. So if I come back here and I change it from description to about, right, and let's change from Docker to, let's say, Docker Compose. My search is going to search all of them, and you can see we have Docker Compose here within the description. Docker Compose, right? Very nice. If I go back to the next one, this is Docker Compose here, right? Very cool. This is searching per here, as you can see from this particular place, right? So that is how to search per description. So you have seen how to do some wonderful search for the search. So you can search per the readme description. You can search per title, right? That is title of the repository. So in that case, it's going to be this option. So in title, then I'll just say I want to search for something in title, like something like Terraform. Terraform. I don't know how to spell it, but let's spell it wrong. Let's see whether to work. So all of GitHub have Terraform in the title. Terraform in the title. So the title is there the same as like the name, right? So it's having Terraform here all throughout. That is one of the ways of searching. You have seen how to use GitHub to search per the different places that we have documentations, right? Perfect. That is one of them. Now let's move on from here and search for comments. So I want to search for comments. That's the last one. So comments. So I want to search within all the comments of a particular repository, something like Apache, right? Apache Spark. I go with, it's going to search within the comments, not just the title, but within the comments, right? If there is comments there within this, it's going to search for it, right? If I go back to this one and I check for the comments of this particular one, right, I'm also going to see Apache, right? That is inside the issue and then the pull request, right? Very nice. Okay, now you have seen how to do some of them. Now let's move on to the search by language. So as we saw in our diagram, there's also the languages, so you can actually search per the language. So how do you do that? So it's very simple. Just go back again. I want to search per the language. So I'll just come back here and I'll just go with my in, not inside this particular repository, but let's go outside of this place. So in, right, you want to search per the language, so you're going to be language, right? Now I want to search per the language. I want to search for the term Python. So this is going to search all of GitHub for only repositories with the term Python there. This is language specific. So you see that this is Python, the color is Python, 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 right? So it's searching per the file, the most dominant file there, Python. Very nice. I can also change it from this one to, let's say, JavaScript, or say Node.js, which is not a language, but it's supposed to be JavaScript because Node.js is not a language, the runtime. So JavaScript, JavaScript, and now you see that JavaScript is yellow, 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 right? Very cool. So you can search for per the language. So let's copy this one and have it here. You can also combine these two together, right? So in case I want to combine per the language, I can also do the same thing. So let's say I want to search for a pandas file, right? A pandas repository. So let's say that is for JavaScript, so language. As I want to know if there is a pandas library for JavaScript, right? So JavaScript. Then I'll just go with in, right? I want to get the title or a name pandas. So let's see if there is a library called pandas. Wow, there is a library in JavaScript called pandas. So pandas CN, pandas JS, pandas Node. So that is one of the ways, in case you want to see if you are learning a new language, you want to see if there is a package that is available in that language. You just put the name of the new language you're learning and then the file, right? And it's going to work. So that is way, so you can combine them together. So you can also combine the two together, right? Perfect. Now let's search per the user, right? So that is also another thing. You can also search per the user here. So there's a user in the repository you have seen. So how do you search for it? I'll go back again and let's search per the user. Just going to go with user, right? Then I want to search for the user. So let's search for myself. Everybody likes himself. So the user and then the name. There's no space. So these are all repositories that belong to this particular user, right? So there's only one user with my name. And I just go with this, right? So these are all the users, right? And the number of repositories. You can also change it. So let's say I want to move to Mitchell. So Mitchell H for HashiCorp. So this is it. So there's only one user called Mitchell, right? So this is Mitchell Hashimoto, right? Terraform. So that is how to do the user search, right? This is going to search per a particular user. You can also do the same thing for organization, because sometimes it's not just the repository can also belong to an organization. So I can also do the same thing here by going with org, then I'll just pass in the best organization. So let's check for the organization called Facebook. I'm getting all of through GitHub every repository that belongs to an organization called Facebook. So we have Facebook React, Facebook React Native, Facebook Create React App, right? So all of these things are organizations, and you can see that the logo is different. This logo is different, right? So this is a verified organization, right? Very cool. Okay, so that is how to search per the organization. As you can search per the user, you can also combine them, right? So you can combine for a particular user, and this one. So let's say I want to search for, let's say, a organization. Let's go with organization. Facebook. I want to search for in Facebook anything that they have on Python. So I can also specify a language. Do Facebook have Python repositories? Now this is going to search for Facebook organization with any repository that is solely Python. So we have Prophet, we have Chisel. I've never heard of Chisel. I've never heard of Pat Picker. Right, so these are new things. Okay, there's Facebook Python Business SDK. I never knew about that. Okay, there's Facebook AI Performance Evaluation. This would be nice. You can explore it later. So you can see that with combining of these things, we can search per organization and per a language, right? So we are just combining them. You can also do the same thing for a user. So I can just go back again. Let's say I want to search for a user. So let's go with another user. So we have let's go with Mitchell. So Mitchell H, right? I don't know what I spelled it wrong. Yeah. Then he has something like language Go, right? Mitchell likes Go. There's no file because I spelled the name wrong. So Mitchell, yeah, I did not spell it wrong. So yeah, I did not spell it wrong. But let's use a different name. Yeah, let's use something simple. So I just use just JCharis or say Brad. Yeah, Brad. Let's see. There's nobody called Brad. So Brad Traversy from Traversy Media. Yes, so Brad Traversy, that is a famous Brad. Very wonderful channel. You have to check it out. He has some Go repositories, right? So you can actually check the Go crash course, Go REST API. Very cool. So you can see how you can combine all of these qualifiers, right, to do advanced search. Perfect. Now let's move on to search by location. So you have seen how to search per the repository organization. You have seen how to search per the Readme, the about, the language, right? Okay, so let's say you have moved to a new country or a new place and you want to see if there are users, right? Maybe you want to learn from other people, right? So how do you do that? So the simplest way, just go back again. You can also search per the location, right? That is the location search, which is not here. So if I go back to, let's say, Brad, if I go to Brad's own and I click on Brad's profile, you can see that this is the profile here, and there is information about here, right? There's some information here, and then there is also sometimes the place that the person stays here. So Brad is in Massachusetts, right? So this particular information is very useful. So in case you want to use it to search in your area, people that belong to that are maybe belong to the same group, let's say Python developers, Julia developers, Java developers in a particular location, you can also do the same thing here. I can go back and I can also try it out. So let's try it out. So it's going to be location, right? I want to search for location. Let's say I want to search for a location like, let's say, Accra. Accra. If I go with location Accra, it's going to search all like of GitHub people that are in Accra. That is 3, 5, 6, 7 users. So all of these people are in Accra, Ghana, Accra, Ghana, Accra, Ghana. I can also change it from this one to, let's say, New Delhi. Yeah, I think I spelled it already. So these are all the users, right? So New Delhi, we have all of these people, right, who are there, right, in New Delhi. So in case you come to a new place and you want to, you can contact this person who I'm in your area, can we meet up, right? You can also move it from here. Let's try something like Berlin. Yeah, and you can see that we have all of these people here, right? We have Sebastian Ramirez, which is the creator of Fast API, very cool. So all of them here. So you can actually use the location search to find users, right? So you can use this one to find users, like people that belong to a particular group, and you can also add more things to it, not just stick to that. You can also add. So let's say I want to find not just people in Berlin, but who are also Python developers, right? So Python, just pass the term there. So these are all people who are Python software developers within Berlin, right? So Christian, all of these people, right? You can also change it. So this is there, Sebastian is there, let's go to a bigger country. Yeah, so this is a bigger country. Yeah, you can also do this location search. Very nice. So that is one of the ways you can also do that using the location search. As a matter of fact, you can combine all of them, right? Perfect. That is nice. So we have seen how to search per docs, per language, per the user or organization, per the location. Now let's move on to searching by activity. So activity is the number of either engagement, either stars, fox, followers, or push, created, or filter, right? So this is what is found here. If I go back here, we have fox, stars. So this is just engagement and activities. So I can search for the number of fox or stars. So if I go back here, I can just do the same thing. I want to search fox. I want repositories that are more than, let's say, 10,000, or let's say they are more than 10,000. So don't leave a space. Don't leave a space. More than, let's say, 10,000. And this is going to be a lot. Yeah. 100,000. Let's go with 100,000. I'll go with this. I'm going to search for repositories that are more than 11k, right? Which is quite huge. They are not a lot. Only just 3 repositories. Wow, that is quite interesting. I'm surprised that there are only just 3 repositories in all of GitHub that has more than 11k. Fox. This is Fox, right? This is not stars, right? If I go back to here and I check it, so the Fox are very huge, right? Yeah, that is quite huge. You can also do the same thing we did. Let's copy this one for stars. So this is searching by engagement. You can also do the same thing for the stars, or you can also put it between a particular value. So let's say I want it from, say, 10,000 or 100,000 dot to, this is a range search, right? So to, let's say, 30,000, right? So I go back with this. Wow, that's quite a huge. So this is the range search. This is for Fox. This is for range search. Range search, right? Within a particular range. The same thing you have done, we can also do the same thing for stars. So I can just change this one from this to stars. How many of the repositories have been star that has this amount of stars? Wow, so that's quite huge. You can also do the same thing, increase it. So let's say, don't leave a space. So greater than, I want to get the most starred of them all. Greater than, let's go with 22 million. Let's see if there's going to be any repository that's more than 2 million. I'm surprised if I find some. Whoa, there are 7 repositories. Of course, free code camp will have 7, and of course, free programming will also have more than 200 stars, right? It's 200,000. So let's make 2 million. There is no 2 million. I don't think there are not that a lot of developers that will start like that. Okay, perfect. So that is something very cool you can do with it. You can combine all of these things you are doing and actually combine them, and it's still going to work, right? Very cool. That's for the engagement, the stars. You can also check for the followers also the same way. By going back, you can also check for the followers. I just changing it to followers, right? People that have followers more than this, and this is the followers. I go back here. You may not see the followers here, right? You don't see it here. But if I come down to here, sometimes if you go to the profile of the person, where is it? Sometimes where is it? Let's go back and see it. Yeah, I think it's here. Yeah, I can't find where it is, but I think it's, yeah, we will figure it out. If you find it, let me know. Okay, so you can use that one to also get the followers, right? Okay, so we have seen how to combine all of these things to get some stuff. Followers, right? Now let's search per the activity of that particular repository. So I want to get a repository that was recently pushed, right? So I just go with pushed. That is recently pushed. Then you specify the date. So we have either it was recently created. So if I go back, in that case it's going to be something like this, pushed, then I'll give the date, so 2022, and then I'll pass in 2022. Today is July, and then today is 11, right? So that was recently pushed around this time. If I go with this option, wow, so this was recently pushed, right? So if I go back to somebody updated 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago, right? So this was recently pushed within 2 hours ago, right? So that's why it is showing. That means that GitHub is tracking a lot of things. You can also do the same thing from pushed to created, right? So it's not just pushing, but so you can also do created. So I want to get that was created, right? Before this, right? Anything that was created here. So I want to get repositories that were recently created in all of GitHub. The comma here, right? So there's nothing created because I think today is 10th. I think I went too high. Let's go with this, and now we have this one. So these were recently created 5 hours ago. So it is very new, very new. There is also here, right? Perfect. That is something very cool you can also do with the search. Now I think the video is becoming longer, so let's move on from here, and then you can also do the number of issues and then the author, right? So the author, anytime you go with the author is not talking about the user, right? The author is different from the user. The user is the repository name, but the author is someone that created a repository or made a comment, right? A commit. So if I go with author, I just specify those ones, right? So before we go on, let's go back again and do the other one. It was created. With this, you can also see when we did this, we got the JDocs. You can also add your theme. All of these things you can still add the theme there. So let's add the theme, like say TensorFlow, and it's going to search the most recent one that has been created. So this is the most recent one that was created, right? For TensorFlow. If I go back again and I just do something like, let's say pandas, let's not password. There's something I was working on, password manager app. Let's go with password manager, and I'm just going to go with push. If I go with this now, so it says we have password site, right? So this way just recently pushed, right? Wow, people are very fast. Let's go with 11 today, because I used to recently pushed one. It's still not working because I think it's still not. Let's go with this. Yeah, so you see I have some of them here, right? Very cool. Let's go with password manager app. That was the actual name I gave to it. I want to see myself. Yeah, right. So I updated it just 2 hours ago. So you can actually use this one to find what was actually put by adding the theme to it, right? So you can actually add the theme to it. All of these things you are doing, you can add the theme to it. Okay. Now we have seen most of these things. Let's go back to the author, and then we will move on. So for the author, you can also do the author. So author is different from the user, right? So if I go with author JCharis, this is the most recent comment. So the author is mostly for the commit, right? Who altered something, who changed something. So this is the all my commits, all my commits, right? You can also do the same thing for, let's see if Wes has done any Wes mechanic. So there's, I don't know how it is, mechanic. There's no user like that. Oh, there are lots of users with that name. Right, so very cool, right? Let's go with something different. Let's say any person, any name that you want, right? You can put any stuff there, right? And it's going to put it there. Let's go with Facebook. Right, Facebook is most of these things are included. Okay, so that is something very basic you can do. You can also search for topics. You can search for all of these things here. So these are some of the wonderful things you can do with GitHub, right? Now, with all that you have done, you can actually combine all of these things, right? you can combine them. Very cool. You can combine all of this. So let me see your combinations that you make, and let me see it in the comment section below. Let's do one more thing. So the other stuff we forgot to do is that you can also do a file search, right? So you can actually search in this particular file here. So in file or file name search, right? You can actually search it here. So in that case, it's going to be this option. So let's go back here, and mostly it's preferable to do it within your repository, right? So in file, and I can just go with something like, let's say, pandas. Let's see. So these are all files that are having pandas, right? So it's going to search for pandas. Yeah, you can also even be more specific and just go with file name. I want to search for a particular file name called main. If there's main here, and I can also add an extension. Extension is going to be, let's say, pi. So hopefully not pi z, but pi y. So you can search in this, and there's nothing like that. There's no file extension in this, but I'm sure there's going to be something like pandas with extension. There's nothing like that. Or let's go with this option, underscore setup here. Setup is always very common. Yes. So you see, you can use this one to find a particular file, right, within a particular repository, right? So this was found within this particular repository. I can also do it for all of GitHub, which is going to be very, very huge. Because setup.py is a very common file, right? So you can do it for all of GitHub. You can do it for a particular repository. You can also do it for a particular organization. Right, so this is a file search. This is one of them. And then the other one was in. So in file, right? Then you just give the particular name, say pandas or something like that. Very cool. These are some of the wonderful things you can do with GitHub. In the next tutorial, we're trying to explore more on the code, how to actually search for code in GitHub. And one more thing, I'm just going to go back again to my user. So user is going to be an advanced search, JCharis, right? And then I want to search for, inside is my file, which a name, right? So new domain. So this is going to go to this particular user, right? That is me. Check for the files with the particular term in domain. So I'm going to search all of GitHub. Couldn't find. So let's narrow it back again. So this, let's go with in. Can spell file, right? Let's go with the name like domain history. Yeah, perfect. So you see, I found it, and I can actually get this particular file. So here I can actually do the same thing. So in this particular repository file, I want the term new domain. Right. So if I go with new domain in this repository, I can go back and actually pinpoint the precise location of it, right? Which is very cool. So this we'll be exploring later on, right? This is using a very nice library behind the scene, the stack graph, and then the tree linker, right? Behind the scene, and it's going to find this particular term, right, for every part of it, right? Which is very cool. So in case you are trying to learn, or you are on a team and you want to find a particular term within a repository, you can just go back to this option. So in file, right, the particular term, right? Very cool. And it's going to search for that particular repository. You can also do another one. So let's say I want to search for the same place. Let's go with a user. So let's go with user pandas dev. There's no, not here, but all of GitHub. We have gotten this. I want to search for something here. I can just go back in file. I want to search for something within this particular place, like let's say something that is very common, data frame, right? So data frame in this repository. Wow, so there is data frame, which is quite huge. 987 data frames within the commits. There's also data frames there within the issues. There's also data frames there. You can also search for the issues, right? Perfect. So that is something very nice you can do. You can actually combine both of these things, right, together. You can combine all of these things like that. Okay, so let's recap. So to recap, we have seen how to do some very advanced search in GitHub. We have seen the various parts of GitHub. We have the username or the organization name, the repository name. We have the engagement, that is the stars, the followers. We have the description or the about. You have the readme. We have the main file, the languages. And we have seen that we can actually search per the user, using the user and then the term, per the repository name or the title. You can search for the files. You can search for the readme. You can search within the description, the languages, the fox, and the rest. Right. So thank you for watching this tutorial. See you in the next session. I hope you have learned something. And let me see the different combinations you can also make right here. Right. So you can make a lot of combinations here, right, as you wish. So thank you for watching. See you another time. Stay blessed.